single one of you will have your own individual experience as a student leader, and you'll find what lights your way. For some of you, it's the visionary side of it. In fact, I'm such an optimist sometimes, and I take the consequence of being disappointed because that's what happens, but this is what fuels me. In my mind, I make things big. That's what allows me to get through them, and I just keep looking up at my North Star. And even in this moment, if everybody just looks up, and even though it's the ceiling, physically, that widens you. It opens you up big time. And we live in a world that's always looking down, and it's metaphoric and otherwise, right? And this is interesting research too about what, if you are training to be a paramedic in the police or any of those things, and especially for motorcyclists, when they're learning how, they're taught what's called target fixation. This applies to every part of our lives. That they're taught when they're about to crash, if they look up and focus on where they want to land, instead of where they're about to crash, they won't crash. 100% of the time, they won't crash. You look at where you want to go, and what happens in stress is we repeat over and over, this is going to happen, this is going to happen, this is going to happen. Eventually it happens, because we meditate on that. But if you imagine a positive outcome, so you have a big exam coming up, and imagine yourself looking at your grades and there's an A there, that is going to give you the energy to study. Because you meditate on what could be, what is. Yes, you want to?
Yeah, oftentimes in a lot of programs, not just in business, and like all my friends from other faculties, they tell me that one thing that fuels them is that, you know, they're praying on getting the position graduate, or in the company they want to go to.
Amen to that. This is my talking stick. When I was, and I say this to the nurses, but this is, as you can imagine, to become a psychologist, you're in school for 10 years, and then another two, and I didn't stop, I went all the way through, and then another 2 years of internship. And what I used to do was print off copies of job advertisements of places where I wanted to work, and wherever I was, I just surrounded myself with that. I created positions, all these things. So when I was actually hired into a job as a psychologist 2 months before I graduated. So, and I'll say this to everybody in this room, why not you? Now we can talk about the 99% that's not successful, but why not you? There's always going to be the 1%. So that's what the other C's are about, right? You create that vision for your life and you imagine it and do it in concrete ways. Because even when they say it's a downturn in the market, there's always jobs. And this is why I love student leadership too, because you're learning the skills, you're making the connection. I'm a new connection for you, and that it just continues to expand your horizons. And I'm going to call on Lyndon here, the old soul. He's doing a great job as being a leader, and I'm sure all of you are to know Lyndon a bit better, but that making connections in the community too, because the one thing that doesn't happen, I don't want to say with this generation, because I know it's happening, but not with everybody. That you meet people, you talk to them, you look them in the eye, you remember who they are. So that's why when I give a presentation, I met Jeremiah online about 2 months ago. I've been doing everything I can to research this organization the last 2 months, so that when you feel like I'm reading you, I did the research, right? Nothing just happens. And this is your skill set too. And that's what your strength is, you just add to it. And have fun. I mean, to me, people are my passion. So we want to make sure that we connect through shared vision. And that back to the whole idea of teamwork, teamwork is sharing a vision and coming back to that vision. So that even the team could be your marriage, the team could be with your kids, the team could be at the maximum where you work. But if you're literally on the same page, it's going to make a big difference, because you're more powerful. You're just so much more powerful, right? I'll give you your examples too. So this was one of the wide student leadership boards I did a couple of years ago, and that's what we're going to work on now in terms of, why? Like, why though? Are you here? Seriously. Why are you here? So this, I'm going to put you now into your groups, and we're going to do a wide vision board exercise, and just like before, we're going to come up here. It can be big, it can be small, free pizza, whatever you want it to be. You can write on the board. And you want to think about what guides you. What is that light? And what moves you? And why become a student leader? So we're going to do the vision boards now. Let's get deep into that.